Okay, let's begin the second part of my lecture, and that topic is Shindan here, okay? I kind of laid the groundwork for a discussion for the similarity between Shakyamuni and Shindan. As far as Shindan's life is concerned, we have learned that Shindan was 8. When he was 9, he went to Mount Hiei. There he spent 20 years in performing various practices. He attempted to transform himself into a Buddha, but he could not attain his goal. Eventually he came to the conclusion that he was a failure in all practices. So just like Shakyamuni became a dropout from Brahmanism, the major religion of his time, Shindan became a dropout from the Tendai Buddhism, the major Buddhism of his time. Then when Shindan was 29, he met his teacher Honen. That was a crucial turning point in his life. Meeting with Honen and listening to the Nembutsu, Honen was saying Namandabutsu, by listening to him, Honen, Shindan experienced liberation. And we could say Shindan experienced a deep awakening. Then Shindan realized that the only thing necessary for him was not a practice, but a flash-like insight into the basic nature of the self and the Dharma. Actually, like Shindan abandoned all practices, just like Shakyamuni. And Shakyamuni sat under the tree. And Shindan did not sit under the tree, but he met Honen Shonin and listened to his words. And Namandabutsu, actually, Namandabutsu, listening to Namandabutsu is a way of examining the self. Okay, please remember that. Okay, now listening to Namandabutsu is not listening to a mantra and say, not listening to a mysterious kind of magical sound or something like that. Namandabutsu has a clear message, challenge, a deep meaning. So Shindan heard this deep message contained in one expression, Namamidabutsu. And through this hearing, Shindan deeply examined himself and understood the self. Okay? That led him to awakening. The awakening is called Shinjin, in Shindan's terminology. So Shindan said, I have abandoned the miscellaneous practices and took refuge in the innermost aspiration. He says, I took refuge in Hongan. See? Hongan is a meaning contained in Namandabutsu. See? Hongan is a deep, compassionate mind of Amida Buddha. That's contained in Namo Amidabutsu. If you don't understand Hongan in hearing Namo Amidabutsu, you are not understanding it. Okay? So that's a very important part of Shindan's teaching. But anyway, by hearing name alone, that's the only thing he says important. And that led him to a Shinjin experience. Shindan said that he was liberated when he abandoned religious practices and experienced flash-like insight. Shindan calls his flash-like insight Shinjin. See? Shinjin. Actually, in the life of Shakyamuni too, we don't know the kind of actual contents of Shakyamuni's awakening. But I'm sure Shakyamuni heard something in the stillest moment of his life while he was sitting. Okay? He heard kind of voiceless voice. See? Shakyamuni awakened. Say, come to me, or something like that. Heard the voiceless voice of the Dharma. So in that sense, crucial moment of awakening in Shakyamuni and Shindan, I think it was hearing that led him to the flash-like insight, which we call enlightened awakening, body or shinjin. I don't see any difference between them. Okay, so it's interesting to note that both Shakyamuni and Shinran took up difficult practices, very difficult practices, and it was not long after they renounced them and seriously reflected upon themselves that they both attained liberation. Both individuals moved from the religion of practice to the religion of flash-like insight. See? Buddhism is not so much a religion of practice, but as a religion of the flash-like insight, or the religion of right view or wisdom. Okay, so we can say that they both detected inherent problems contained in the traditional practices. They both detected the deep religious self-love that existed as a basis of those practices. They thought that so long as self-love, religious self-love, remained as the basis of religious practices, those practices could not realize selflessness. Self-based practices could not realize selflessness. I said this is probably the most important part of self-examination. Okay? And in Shinran's case, I think this is the most kind of core of Shinran's teaching. So let me give you a couple of examples. And I think I gave this example to you before. And suppose we are in a dark room here, dark classroom, and this board is so dirty. So I'm trying to clean this, and I believe this is clean eraser, and I'm cleaning this. So messy here, okay? So, and I have, I firmly believe I'm cleaning this. Room is dark, okay? Then somebody comes in and turn on light. Then I realize that this chalkboard is so messy, messier than before. See, I thought I've been trying to clean it, and see, how come I spent so much time cleaning, but it looks dirtier than before. See? Then I realized that this eraser is full of dirt. This is much dirtier than this. No wonder I was kind of smearing this. I couldn't clean it. I think that's the kind of experience Shakyamuni and Shinran had. See, practices means dirt means blind passions. See, so many blind passions. I want to clean. See, I want to eliminate these blind passions. See, I eliminate blind passions. See, so these are dirt. See, these are dirt. And this I is an eraser. See? See? So initially I thought I have pure soul, something, pure substance here, good religious self. See? So this is good and pure. See? So I thought, I believe this is good and pure. See? But by doing this, they both tried so hard to clean that they came to the conclusion, no way I could clean this dirt. No way I can eliminate even one blind passion. Why? Because the basis of my practice, this is not pure and good as I thought. See? Even my religious basis, see, this eraser is dirty. See? Even myself, see, is dirty. Has a lot of blind passions here. How can blind passions can eliminate blind passions? See? That's what they realized. They thought that's why they realized it's useless. See? Unless I clearly understand the basic nature of myself, see, practices cannot solve any of my problems. See? Ignorance about myself, deep ignorance about myself. I cannot think myself as such a nice, wonderful, pure, and good being. See? If it is actually good and pure, certainly, easily you can clean it. But what am I? See? Am I so good and pure? You say, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a religious person. Does that mean you are really good and pure? You think so, but your thinking so doesn't mean you are actually, see, good and pure. See, so the self-examination revealed that Shakyamuni, Shinran were not so good as they thought they were. So, and another example I talk about is that the fire, the blind passion is burning fiercely, see, like, and you want to extinguish it. So oh, there's a bucket of water here. So you grab at this bucket of water and splash and try to douse this fire. But instead of extinguishing it, the fire is getting bigger and bigger. How come? How come? And you looked at this label on the bucket, it says gasoline. How can gasoline extinguish the fire? Fire cannot extinguish fire. See, same idea. You think this is good, pure water. It's not. Ourself is not so pure as we think it is. See, so that's what happened to Shinran, and so I call their self-examination very profound. See, they really understood the basic nature of they didn't have any illusion or romanticism about their self. See, I think we have lots of romantic ideas about ourselves. Somehow we say, oh, I'm not so good. I have some passions, oh, terrible, but I still have some good part in me. See, yeah, such believes that. Yeah, so self-examination is not so easy, see, unless some light comes into our life, very strong light comes into, pure, this air, we always say, this air is so pure, my mind is so pure, see. As far as I'm concerned, this is pure, no dust here. But if light comes in, limitless light comes in from the ceiling, see, and the hole and sunlight comes. Then I see myriads of particles, dust here. See, so you cannot see yourself by yourself. See, unless you have this another perspective, limitless light. See, that's Amida Buddha. See, by encountering Amida Buddha, limitless light, you can clearly see limitless particles of dust. See, without encountering this, that's what the Dharma makes you understand yourself. See, see, that's without having this perspective into the Dharma, you cannot understand the self. See, that's what this experience Shakyamuni and Shinran are telling us. Okay, so anyway, then I talked about this Shinran's renunciation of the Tendai Buddhist practices, and Shinran says, I have abandoned the miscellaneous practices and took refuge in the innermost aspiration. Shinran said this when Shinran met Honen Shonin, but Shinran did not say, abandoning miscellaneous practices, I took refuge in Honen. See, he didn't say it. See, it's not the person that is important in Buddhism. It is the Dharma. See, that is reflected in this statement. Innermost aspiration, or Amida Buddha, is a symbol for the Dharma. Okay, Dharma. Okay, so second issue here is his awakening, Shinjin experience, twofold aspects. Okay, the negative and the positive aspect. I think this is a kind of most important part of my lecture, and I discussed Shakyamuni's two aspects, and now we are going to study Shinran's aspect. And we spent some time in discussing this. This, I believe, is the core of Shinran's teaching. And so, when Shinran met his teacher Honen, or more accurately, when he encountered Dharma, he experienced Shinjin awakening. And I said, Shakyamuni's awakening is called the body. Shinran's awakening is called Shinjin. Okay? Different terminology. But I believe they refer to the same experience. And I believe that there is one deep awakening experience in Buddhism. Okay? Because there's one Dharma. Okay? One Dharma. We recognize this one Dharma. So everybody has the same awakening experience in Buddhism. Shinran emphasized this aspect. And Shinran in Tanisho tells us, Honen Shinjin and my Shinjin are same. Doesn't matter that there are differences between Honen and Shinran concerning talent, ability, or scholarship. But Shinran said, Honen Shinjin and my Shinjin are identical. Okay, so we must say that our Shinjin and Shinran's Shinjin are identical. Otherwise, if we cannot say that, okay, our Shinjin is not authentic. See, we are awakening to the reality of the Dharma, see, and we are awakening to the reality of the self. Okay, that's the same contents. Okay, so now twofold aspect, and I said when Shakyamuni attained enlightenment or awakening, he said, "My life is already spent. The universal working is already established." The first sentence described the negative aspect of his awakening. The second sentence talks about the positive aspect of his awakening. So we can call the first aspect of his awakening endowment, and the second aspect of his awakening enlightenment. See, twofold, sad and joyful. Okay? I think these are the two sides of the same coin. Shinran's awakening also had the two aspects, following the teaching of Zendo. Zendo is one of the seven patriarchs. See? Shinran made this schema of seven patriarchs. Okay? Zendo is the fifth patriarch in that schema. And Zendo talks about twofold aspects of awakening. And Zendo, actually here, it's spelled out here, okay, page 3b, negative aspect and positive aspect. So Zendo talks about this negative aspect and positive aspect of awakening, okay, Shinjin, two aspects of Shinjin. And these are the terms, Zendo uses actually. The deep understanding of the self, deep understanding of the Dharma. See? As I told you this, self-examination is important, but we cannot know ourselves by ourselves. As I told you this, we think this air is so clean here. See? Because we love ourselves, so whatever we have, we cannot see it objectively. See? So we like to think we are not so bad, clean. See? But unless this light comes in, we cannot see the reality of it. See? So this limitless light, only limitless light can show us the limitless number of particles. See? That's this twofold aspect. Dharma, see? Dharma, limitless light, or this is the Dharma. Unless you encounter it, you don't know the pettiness. See? This is we are attached to petty values. See? We cherish these values, but by encountering this tremendous flow of life, dynamic flow, we come to see the pettiness of what we're doing. So without having this challenging us, we cannot know it. See, Dharma, understanding Dharma is understanding the self. Understanding the correctness, rightness of Dharma is understanding the wrongness of our direction. See, if this is right, this is wrong. If this is right, this is wrong. Both cannot be right. Okay, they are going opposite direction. Okay, so these two are known simultaneously. Dharma insight, see? Dharma, see, and limitless light, limitless particles. See, simultaneously. One is sad. How sad it is! I thought my mind is pure. But isn't sad. But so delightful because you can know it, because you encounter tremendous light, and you are being embraced by light. See? So this is the Shinji experience. Two aspects. So Zendo is the one. Fifth patriarch is the first person who defined the meaning of Shinjin. He said twofold. Deep understanding of the self comes first. Then you immediately understand what is making this self-understanding possible. See? It's Dharma made it. Light is there. Because of the light I can know it myself. See? So deep understanding the self comes first. Then immediately deep understanding of the Dharma. See? Both are two sides of the same simultaneously. But Buddhism is a teaching about self-examination. So you always know the mistake you are making first. See? Then through understanding the pettiness of the self, or the dirtiness of the self, limitedness of the self, you know something limitless, something so great. See? That's simultaneous. I think you experience this quite often. See, you face the huge ocean, then say, wow, how tiny I am. See, how tiny, how huge ocean is, simultaneous. See, you don't have that kind of feeling when we are sitting in the classroom here, okay? We compare each other, oh, he's taller than I. She's chubbier than I. See, that much we can compare ourselves, largeness or smallness. But facing the limitless hugeness of the ocean, then you understand the limitless smallness of your being. See? Simultaneous. That's what the awakening means, Shinjin awakening means. So here, deep understanding of self. See, it's important to know that this comes first. Okay? It is in the self-examination we gain insight into Dharma. See, by examining mistake and gradually understanding this. Okay, so of course it takes place simultaneously, but I think we understand the pettiness of the self first. Okay, that's what Dogen Zendo teaches us. So deep understanding of the self comes first. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, please remember Zendo, fifth patriarch is the first one who defined the twofold meaning of Shinjin. Okay, so if we were to come up with Shindan's two statements that were equivalent to Shakyamuni's two statements that describe the two aspects of his awakening, they are as follows. Okay, Shindan described the first aspect of awakening, deep understanding of the self, by saying, I am evil. Okay? In many places he says, I am evil person. And he described the second aspect of awakening, deep understanding of the Dharma, by saying, Amida Buddha embraces me. See? So the saying I'm evil, I'm ignorant is a negative thing to say, okay? Sad thing to say, but recognizing this Amida, limitless light, limitless life, embracing me. See, I'm part of it. See, this actually. See, although you're petty, small, but you are part of this reality, dynamic, creative reality. See, Dharma reality. See. And we think we have some kind of independent, substantial quality in us, autonomous quality in us, but come to think of it, everything is conditionally arisen. See, one dharma is impermanence, conditional arising, always dynamically moving and changing. See, impermanence and conditional arising, these are synonyms. Okay, dharma can be called impermanence or conditional arising. See, dynamic truth. See, so if we recognize it, everything is conditionally arisen. Everything is impermanent. Aren't we part of it? See, aren't we, from the beginning of the birth, we never separated from this truth. See, we've been always part of this truth of impermanence and the conditional arising. The idea that I am totally autonomous, independent, substantial, being apart from conditional arising, that's an illusion. See? No. We are always part, we have always been part of this truth of impermanence and conditional arising. But somewhere along the line, because of our self-love and attachment, we thought we have some kind of independence, autonomy. See? That's an illusion. See? So recognize this. See? We are actually. So actually what we thought we are is one thing. See? External thing, this way. That was what we thought we are. But what we are actually are is this. See? This is our true being. See? So we have some misconception about the being. So Buddhism teaches us transition from what we think we are to what we really are. Okay? What we really are is the part of the Dharma reality. See? The core of our being, the basic nature of our being is participating in this dynamic flow of life. See? We never even a second separated from it. But somehow in our mind, in imagination, see, we created our world, see, based upon self-love. See? And we created Buddhism on the basis of it too. See? Okay, anyway, so now I talked about these two expressions Shinran would use to talk about two aspects of his awakening experience. And so, I believe, this, what I'm going to say from now may not sound familiar to you, but I believe that Shakyamuni's words, I am impermanent, that summarizes the whole essence of his awakening. Okay? I am impermanent, my body and mind are impermanent. Okay? That statement and Shinran's words, I am an evil person. Okay? Shakyamuni said, I am impermanent. Shinran said, I am evil. I think they are synonymous expressions. Don't you think so? The idea of impermanence and the evil may sound so different. But, we are talking about the content of self-examination. And the answer to the question, what am I, was, I am impermanent, as far as Shakyamuni was concerned. The same answer to the same question, as far as Shinran was concerned, was, I am evil. Don't you think they are the same? Both are humbling experience. They are kind of sobered, or, awakened from their dream of having wonderful self, see, permanent self, good self, pure self. But the Dharma didn't allow them to have that kind of self-love. They challenged. They are kind of sobered up. And Shakyamuni said, I am impermanent. Shinran said, I am evil. See? Okay, now, since these two expressions, the statements, are the core of Shakyamuni and Shinran, and very important. So let me elaborate on this, okay? Let me further give you some textual sources that kind of show us those two statements are synonymous. So seeing the Dharma in the self. Okay? So all our teachers examine themselves and they gain some insight into the basic nature of themselves. Okay? So these are the words so they uttered as an answer to the question, what am I? See, what am I? So the first statement by Shakyamuni, I discussed this already, but let me read, okay? He said, form is impermanent. This means, form means, physical components of the self. Actually, when Shakyamuni said, we should understand this as a subjective statement. He's saying, my mind, my body is impermanent. Okay? Then he says, thus there is no self. Okay? There's no permanent. Likewise, sensation, conception, impulse, and consciousness. These are the so-called four components of the mind, okay? Mental components. They are all impermanent. My mind is impermanent. So there's no self. Self could mean the Atman is usually translated as soul or spirit. But Atman has a meaning of substance, see? Entity, unchanging substance. That's the meaning of self. So my mind and body are constantly changing, moving. See? My mind and body are the product of conditions. See? Conditions, conditionally arisen. So there is no permanent substance. Conditions, see? My body, various conditions that assembled here. My mind is the same way. See? All of our ideas from my teacher, parents from the books, those ideas are assembled here. And my mind exists. No independent substance, no autonomous entity. Okay? Every mind is a conditionally arena. Myriads of conditions are forming what I call the body and mind. See? No self, no substance. Okay? That's what I believe. See, this is such a humbling insight. See? Before, Shakyamuni was proud of his self, the opinion. I have this opinion. See? He had some assertions. But now he came to see the foolishness of being attached to those ideas. See? Because reality is change. He would rather identify himself as a continuous flow of life and just enjoy being a seeker and a learner. See? Dharma doesn't allow him to be complacent. So, but anyway, two aspects. But I'm talking about the deep understanding of self and the kind of sad aspect. I call this humbling aspect. But this is very important. See? And then we have Shantao. Okay? Shantao is the one I told you. He's the one who defined this twofold meaning of Shinjin. And see, that is this section. And here, that's the second is the deep mind. Okay? Deep mind is a deeply interesting mind. There are two aspects. See here, this is what Shantao says. The two aspects, deep mind and Shinjin are synonymous. So here Shantao is saying there are two aspects of deep mind, or two aspects of Shinjin. See, that's how he defines. And he talks about the deep understanding of the self. That's what I listed here. Okay? Deep understanding of self is this, he says. One deep understanding of self is to believe deeply and decidedly that you are a foolish being of karmic evil, caught in birth and death, ever sinking and ever wandering in transmigration from innumerable kalpas in the past, with never a condition that would lead to emancipation. So here we can see the same insight. Okay? Shantao is saying, my whole being, the body and mind have been transmigrating. See? And that means I've been living in illusion. See? From immemorial time. Okay? So transmigrating. That this knowing self as a foolish being of karmic evil, caught in birth and death, ever sinking, ever wandering in transmigration from innumerable kalpa in the past, with never condition that would lead to emancipation. See, isn't this a sad insight? See, the self is seen to be very meaningless or empty. See, no substance, nothing you can trust as a basis of your religion. So totally unsavable. See, that's what he is saying. Kind of, you see, we people trusting this, but how much can we trust this? See, our human thinking, human wisdom, see, all attached values. See, so much against this. So anyway, he is saying that he is a foolish being, in an endless samsara delusion. Okay. And so the second, I mean omitted second one, but the first understanding self means that one is totally unsavable. There's no good resources in me. See, no condition whatever that would lead me to emancipation. There's no good resources in me. See, total despair as far as I'm concerned. That's the insight. I thought this is a good religious place. My mind is pure and good. But because of this light, now you see this whole bunch of dustfulness. Oh, I don't think this could be the basis of my... See, that kind of total sadness. See, absolutely unsavable, so defiled, so evil, so ignorant. See? But he says, if you have that insight, see, you cannot have that insight by yourself. It's not the humanly acquired wisdom. It is a given insight, simply because you encountered its light. Light is there. Okay? And light is making you have this. See? So it's a given insight. If you can see yourself that way, in such a negative way, that means there's something positive, see, working over you, and even embracing this yourself. See? That's the first insight here. Deep understanding self is so sad, discovering the unsavable self. But discovering of the unsavable self presupposes you are being embraced by this Dharma, see, limitless light. And that's your liberation. That's your liberation. See? Even these particles started to shine. Whatever you hated, these third blind passions, could start to have some positive meaning. Light could change the meaning of these blind passions. You shouldn't be afraid of these things. See? But as far as you are concerned, it's so sad to have so many blind passions. So you cannot trust yourself. You cannot dream about yourself. See, you stop to have any romantic ideas about yourself. But that itself is liberation. That's what Shanta is saying. See? When you totally bow your head, see, being an evil person, the meaningless being, see, kind of confession. If you realize that confession, you are encountering the power that is making you to bow your head. And so that itself is your liberation. Your arrogant head coming down, that is your liberation. You are being liberated from your self-love, self-pride. See? That's kind of Shinrakan's inconceivable liberation. This is a liberation you cannot realize by yourself. See? It is by only encountering the power that makes you bow down. See? That's Shinran talks about. It's a liberation you can never plan unexpectedly. See? The power you encounter is so great that makes you bow down and see the futility of your being, emptiness of being. See? So if you know you are totally helpless, that's the content of your liberation. See? This is Jodo Shinshu liberation. So this is totally different liberation that other teachings talk about, Zen enlightenment or something like that. See, then people say, oh, I have good potential, Buddha potential here, so I nurture this, cultivate this. So gradually, this good part become, see, nurtured and become blossom as a Buddhahood. See, that's the kind of the liberation or enlightenment you can plan or imagine, expect. But Shinda said, Jodo Shinshu liberation, you cannot plan or even imagine or conceive. So he called this inconceivable liberation. See? The power you encounter is so great that you are made to bow, and you know the total helplessness of being. But knowing it, see, your head is coming down. You cannot make your head come down. So when whatever you do, practice, or whatever thinking you have, your head goes up, goes up. Your pride gets strengthened. But if your pride, religious pride or whatever, is challenged and you are really humbled, that means you are encountering the Dharma. Dharma is embracing you. See? That's what this. So I kind of omitted the second part here, but first part says, I'm totally helpless, cannot be saved. Second deep understanding Dharma is, no doubt I am being liberated. See, that's what it says. So it's a paradox. See, first part is so sad. So don't you think it's sad? You know, whatever you are proud of. This is the head. See, head. See, this is the arrogant head, called head. See, this head. See, gradually coming down, and like this. See, totally, this head comes down. Doesn't that mean this power is working?
Yeah.
See, this is called Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha is a dynamic flow of life. See, the Dharma. Amida is not a person. Okay, it's the power, this function of the Dharma. This function, see, is called Amida Buddha. See, Dharma's dynamic power that is making this arrogant head come down. It's called Amida. So Amida Buddha does exist only in the person who is bowing. Okay? It is not the case that Amida exists for everybody. Amida Buddha exists only for those who are bowing. See? This bowing, this is Amida movement. See? See? This is very important. Okay? Amida Buddha is a dynamic flow of life, challenging us. Okay, working of the Dharma is called Amida. Okay, it's not a person. Okay, it's a personified kind of symbolic way of talking about it. Forget about Amida as a person. Okay, Amida means limitless light, limitless wisdom. This limitless wisdom, limitless life. See, that challenges us, and before it, we cannot help but bow. See? Amida Buddha, we cannot talk about Amida Buddha as something like a Christian God who exists for everybody. No, Amida exists only for the person who is truly. This bowing, see, if I really bow this way, see, this movement is my being humbled, but this simultaneously Amida's power, this same power, see? This power, the same power. See? So this only the person who is truly bowing, Amida exists. See, this bowing is Amida movement. See, it's not my bowing. Okay, if you intend to bow, that's not the true bowing. Okay, see, we intentionally bow. Japanese are good at bowing. Okay? Artificially, they bow all the time. See? Even if they don't respect the person, they bow. See, it's policy. But we are talking about true bowing. Okay? If you cannot help but bow, you meet a teacher you deeply respect. Shinda met Honen. He could not help but bow. See, that movement of bowing is called Amida. Amida's power. Amida Buddha. Nothing but Amida. See? See? That's what Buddhism talks about. Okay, but anyway, this is a twofold experience. Actually, I shouldn't. I tend to kind of my mind transmigrate so much. And, okay, well, I have to go. Okay, I shouldn't. Page 4. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I finished the Shanta. Okay. I want you to see this consistent theme here. Okay, running through. Okay, Shakyamuni Shinran, deep understand self. Okay. See, you can't see the basic nature of the mind, and you cannot any longer. You cannot kind of romanticize your mind so much any longer. Okay, and okay, then now we have 6th patriarch. Okay, his famous statement here. He said, by examining himself, this is the answer. Genshin, okay, 6th patriarch said, deluded ideas are basic nature of a foolish, ordinary person like me. Aside from deluded ideas, there is nothing that can be called the mind. See? Now, same ideas. See, this. He is no longer romanticizing his mind. Okay? He is seeing that his mind is conditionally arisen. See? All ideas. See, you examine your mind, see? Aren't you having all kinds of ideas from moment to moment? How are they arising? See? Are you creating those ideas? Maybe so, partially. But you cannot say, I'm creating the ideas, all of them. See? Conditions are created. Aren't you thinking ideas because I'm talking now? See? I hope you are thinking of my ideas. Or you may be thinking of other things, but the conditions are making you think about those other ideas. See? So you cannot claim, I have such a decent mind, consistent mind. I've been thinking about the same thing last 30 minutes, one topic. I don't believe you say that. See, from moment to moment, from second to second, our ideas, see, migrating, transmigrating. See, deluded idea, the basic nature of foolish person like me. Aside from deluded ideas, there's nothing that can call the mind. I think this is what Shakyamuni is talking about. See? My mind is impermanent, see? Conditionally arisen. See? Now we have simple state by Honen here. Honen is, of course, a 7th patriarch and Shinran's teacher. Honen said, I have 84,000 deluded ideas in one day. I don't know how he calculated. Maybe he had a good calculator. In one day, do you know how many seconds we have in one day? 86,000. Okay? 86. I calculated 86 and 400 seconds actually. Okay? So almost identical with what Honen says. See? 84,000. See? 2,000 difference. But so this means that Honen said every second my ideas are changing and moving. See? So my mind is not decent, just consistent, not consistent. See? Okay, so next we have Shinran. Shinran continued. Okay, there is an important lesson here. This is from Tanisho. If we could always act as we wished, then when I told you to kill 1,000 people in order to attain birth, you should have immediately gone out to do so. But since you lack the karmic cause enabling you to do this, you do not kill even a single person. It is not that you keep from killing, because your heart is good. In the same way, a person may wish not to harm anyone and yet end up killing 1,000, 100 or 1,000 people. Thus, Shinran spoke, referring to our belief that the good of our hearts and mind is truly good and the evil truly evil, not realizing that Amida saves us through the inconceivable working of the Tao. The master Shinran further states when the karmic cause within so moves us, we will do anything. I think this subject should be I. I will do anything. Whenever Shinran says we better have the word first person singular. Japanese don't have subject. So sometimes we don't know the subject. But I think in this case, in many cases, Shinran, when we translate Shinran, subject should be I. See, because Shinran is talking about himself, always talking about himself, the result of self-examination. So this statement is very important. When the karmic cause within so moves us, I will do anything. See, I will do anything. See, conditionally arisen. See, this is a conditional arising. That's a dharma. He's talking about this within the context of the self. Okay. And now modern time we have Manshi Kyozawa. Manshi Kyozawa is called the Shinran Shonin in modern times. The perception of color or recognition of fragrance is not initiated by the power of the color or the fragrance itself. These events would not occur were it not for the initiative of the one great inconceivable power. In addition to colors and fragrances, can't we say the same thing about the self? It is not for us to determine where the self came from and where it is going. And the following section is important. We are powerless not only with regard to things before our birth and after our death, should be after our death, but also with regard to the arising and the vanishing of our thoughts in this very moment. We are absolutely within the hands of power beyond the self. This is my translation of other power. See, we are absolutely within the hands of the other power. See, in other power means the dharma, okay? Dharma of conditional arising. Okay? Specific meaning of other power is the dharma of conditional arising. See, we are absolutely within hands of the dharma, see, the conditional arising. See, so Kyoza says we are powerless not only with regard to things before our birth and after death, but also with regard to the arising and the vanishing of our thoughts in this very moment. See, what are your thoughts, ideas? See, how are they arriving? Are you controlling them? Are you responsible for them 100%? If you say yes, no, that's not the case. See? Conditions are conditioning, see? Your thoughts, ideas. See? Whatever you hear, see, touch, feel, see? Those things are making you think certain things. See? Other people say something to you, you react to it, you think accordingly. See? So this is very important. Okay, we are powerless not only with regard to, but also with regard to the arising and the vanishing of our thoughts in this very moment. We are absolutely within the hands of conditional arising. See, aren't you thinking ideas because of the things you hear and see? See. Understanding something like this is such a humbling thing for us. See? We cannot overestimate the power of our mind. See? Conditionally arisen. We like to think we have decent ideas and we have consistent thinking, and we are thinking our ideas by our own selves. No, that's not what it is. See? Studying Buddhism is studying the Dharma impermanence, conditional arising within the context of the self. And if you are not humbled by studying the Dharma, see, you are not really understanding the Dharma. See? If you study Dharma in a very general way, academic way, nothing hurts you. See? You are head gets bigger and bigger, your scholarship gets bigger and bigger. That's not what Buddhism is all about. See, Buddhism is sickness and elimination of sickness. See, we have to see this truth within the context of ourself, in our mind. See, if you really examine our mind, see, under these teachings, our teachers' teachings, see, and all our teachers are telling us, see, this importance of gaining insight into the basic nature of our mind. See, it's a humbling thing, But at the same time, see, it's the same Dharma that helps, that challenges and humbles us, make us have such a wonderful life. That which kills us could revive us. Okay, that which kills us could revive us. Okay, that's the Dharma we are dealing with. See. No pain, no gain. See? So always see that the extreme negation is extreme affirmation. See? That's what the Buddhism teaches. We love positive things. We like to skip negative things, and we just like to jump at the positive things. That's what we expect in Buddhism. But no, that's not authentic Buddhism. See? The true Buddhism is this way. See? Shakyamuni had this sad experience. Shinda had said, and see, now you understand that statement by Shakyamuni. I'm impermanent. I'm conditionally. My mind is conditionally arisen. Shindan's word. I am evil, foolish. I'm deluded. You understand? These are the same insights. See, deep insight into the self. And you are seeing the Dharma in the self, in the mind. Then you are humbled. But the same truth, say, if you are really humbled, same truth makes you have such a wonderful life. Okay? Now you come to see that same truth, the dynamic truth, the truth that kills you, could give life to you, new life to you. That's what the so actually, that's the very. This is the most important part of my lecture. Today I really wanted to emphasize. So this last fourth point is the same point. Like a fulfillment of human life at the end of this life. Okay, Shindan says, last moment of our life, okay, the Shinjin person attains parinirvana, okay, complete, full stop. Okay? At the very end of our life, where the last moment of life is a moment of parinirvana. See, he talks about attaining parinirvana and attaining Buddhahood are synonymous. Okay? So Shindan says we become a Buddha, attain the Buddhahood at the very moment when we die. So becoming a Buddha means fulfilling human life. Completing human life, see? Having the completion point, full stop at the end of life. That's the goal in Buddhism. See? We don't have any more need to have another life. See? Put an end. We met something very important. We heard something very important in this life, and we fulfilled our life. See? That's what Shakyamuni and Shindan Shonin teaches us. I supplied some words of Shindan, last page 5 and 6. So these are kind of self-evident, so I don't have to explain. Okay, Shindan's view of attaining birth in the Pure Land in this life and attaining parinirvana at the end of life. And Shindan has many wonderful words about this life, wonderful life in this life. Okay. That's a differentiation from other Pure Land masters. So many Pure Land masters say, "Oh, we must be born in Pure Land after death. It is only after we die that we have a wonderful life." Okay. That the true life exists after death. See? True Buddhist path exists after death. So this life is a preparation period for the true life after death. That's what many Pure Land teachers taught people. But Shindan is very different. Shindan is no different from Shakyamuni. See, experiencing deep awakening experience in this life, and have such a powerful creative life after that, and we end our life with a full stop. Okay? No more need of another life. Okay? That's what Shinran and Shakyamuni taught. So first, I raise the question: are their teaching same or different? And I answer: they are teaching the same. And I try to show their similarity by quoting some of Shinran's or Shakyamuni's words. Okay. I haven't discussed that last issue, one more issue, but that takes a long time. So I was too ambitious, But anyway, I think I kind of told you whatever I wanted to tell you today. Okay, so okay, that's okay.
So I'd like to thank Kenneth Sensei.